Hi, I'm Bob Vila. Welcome to this old house on a beautiful sunny fall day. It's cold, but we'll be spending most of our time outdoors today, installing some of the plant material that's been delivered, taking a look at a fence that we've built around our vegetable garden. We're also going to take you on a visit to a home lived in by an elderly couple who are taking real innovative precautions and measures towards growing older and less mobile. So don't go away.
This old house is made possible by Weyerhaeuser, providers of building materials, services, and other products that help Americans live better at the same address. Weyerhaeuser.
Fellas, put a little more soil in the middle of the hole there, would you please? Just build that up a little. Oh, that's looking great. Beautiful tree. Let's rotate that just a little to the counter the other way, counterclockwise, just a little more.
Now let's join
terrific,
Tom
right
Wirth, our landscape architect. Hi, Tom.
Hi, Bob.
And Roger Cook, landscape
Bob.
contractor. How you doing, Roger?
Good.
It's getting a little cold for putting these things in, isn't it?
Well, we've extended the season in the last few years, and we're able to plant right up until the ground's solid.
Really?
Without a loss. We keep everything the same. We're endangering no one.
What is this that we're putting here? What specimen?
This is a white angel crabapple, Bob. It's a very prolific flowering and fruiting one. As you can see, the fruits are beautiful on this. This is also very disease resistant, which is something you have to be very careful with when you're buying crab apples these days.
Indeed. It seemed like kind of a shallow hole, Roger.
Well, we're going to lift it up even more, Bob. We have a drainage problem in this area, and what we want to do is mound this tree up. The roots on this tree will spread sidewards as opposed to going down deep.
Terrific. Now, what's going on closer to the street over here? These lovely evergreens that you've put down there.
Putting in some Norway spruce here, Bob. The whole reason for this is to, create a bit of a wall between the terrace over here and the street.
Yeah.
And these will grow into quite sizable conifers. As a matter of fact, there's a Norway spruce just in the distance over here on the neighboring property. See
It
this,
looks to be a good 50 feet
Straighten it
high.
up, guys.
Yeah, it'll take a while certainly before this gets up, but
Yeah.
we want to keep the foliage very heavy on the bottom sides of these.
It's a beautiful, beautiful plant. Again, the hole has been prepared with a mixture of peat and manure.
We use peat and manure, Bob. We try and get 8 to 12 inches below the tree itself.
Yeah.
Okay?
Now, when it's as cold as windy as it's going to be just in the next few weeks, don't you have to worry about these evergreens?
Yes, this is one thing we do. We do a couple things specifically on these. A heavy mulch, 8 inches of mulch on the evergreens. Stakes to keep them from twisting back and forth to rip the root system. Also, we're using on these, watch yourself, we have an anti-desiccant, which is something which keeps moisture from evaporating from the needles. And we simply soak this whole tree top to bottom. And what we'll do is come out again in February and repeat the procedure to help protect the tree.
Terrific.
Also, a heavy watering this time of year.
A heavy watering, yeah, before things freeze up.
You covered all the ground there, Roger. That's great.
Now, Tom, what about the things that are going in along these rustic granite steps?
Well, we'll plant some things that will soften these up in between these earth joints that we've left, Bob. But one thing I wanted to point out is that this blue rug juniper, which is a terrific plant, will tend to creep and also do some filling up of these holes. It will soften these steps coming down here. It's a great evergreen for that purpose.
Now, fellas, what's this little evergreen that you've got over here?
It's a dwarf white pine, Bob.
Really?
I think it'd be a perfect specimen for this location. It's very soft, sort of blue-green foliage.
And it's dwarf, so it's not going to get 70 feet high,
That's right. That's right.
We'll take and prune this. We'll take the candles, the 1 year's growth every year, and cut it off.
The candles are the 1 year's growth.
Yes. We'll cut them in half, and then we'll expose the trunk by opening up the whole thing.
Good.
I really like when Roger does that, because what that'll do, this has so many interesting branches here that we'd really like to open those up and treat it like a piece of sculpture.
So it'll have kind of an oriental feeling to it, which will be nice next to the large rustic granite that we've got here, and of course the water feature, huh, Tom?
Yeah, how do you like this?
Oh, I like it.
Well, I think the expression of this soft sort of trickle, just with a faint sound, you can barely hear it, is very appropriate for this location.
Very, very nice.
Okay,
now, what's
guys,
happening over here?
Well, we've got a weeping European beech here, Bob. Now, this particular one is called a parasol beech. Reason being is that it grows like a parasol.
Like
we'll
an
get
umbrella.
about 10 feet high or so, and about 10 feet in diameter.
Watch yourself, Paul.
But it's a beech, right? Which means it has very interesting bark.
Yeah, it's a wonderful sort of pale gray bark. But the nice thing about this is its form. You can see it's really a piece of sculpture.
Looks like a bonsai.
And exactly, when that's set in there,
Set down.
and it grows
Just
to
set it on
fill the
hot top
space,
on the
it will tend to create a nice
Take the
little
gate
edge
out.
on this end of the terrace, as well as something very attractive to look at year-round.
Beautiful. How did that occur to you, Tom, to pick that
Okay,
specimen
one,
for that
two.
location?
Well, I must admit, too, that I always like to use a weeping plant next to water. For some
raise
reason,
the backside
fellas,
up.
we're going to want to raise that up probably almost another 6 or 8 inches or so.
Okay. That's going to be real nice there. Hey, what's this behind you, Tom?
Oh, this is maiden grass. One of my favorite things to use in the landscape are ornamental grasses. They're certainly in vogue these days, but the combination of the plume and the fact that it has really lovely sort of winter texture.
It'll stay
is
this way
something
through the winter?
Well, until the ice and the
Breaks it
snow
down.
sort of breaks it down.
Yeah. Well, let's take a stroll down our ramp over here and take a closer look at some of the things that are already in the ground.
Do you like our exposed aggregate path here, Bob?
It looks quite nice, yes.
Sort of nice texture to it, wouldn't you say?
A little
Now-
dirty at the moment. Tell me about these junipers that you've put in here.
Well, now Roger's planted these very nicely. We have, and I think what's nice about the combination here is that we have this upright, sort of bluish green variety. This one is the Spartan juniper, which is sort of a pyramid. It will tend to kind of anchor down this corner of the house.
Yeah, but
And
then these that you've got over here, Roger, are certainly not blue.
No, these are the Gold Coast juniper, Bob, and they'll take and spread out and get even golder as they stay in the sun. They're
particularly
beautiful.
in the
So that
spring,
you'll have
those
the
tips come out.
contrast between the gold and the blue.
Yeah.
And what's this over here?
Well, now this is one of my very favorite plants. This is called the PJM Olga Mezit. Now you've probably heard of the PJM.
Olga Mezit.
Olga Mezit. This one is a clear pink. It's extraordinarily hardy.
Yeah.
It has this wonderful sort of mahogany color in the wintertime, and it's just really a terrific plant to use.
So we have a grouping of them here
a group of them here
by our
on
entrance.
each side of the. We'll have probably a larger group on this side than that.
Lovely. Roger, what's this large guy here?
This is a Cornus Kusa. This is a Japanese dogwood, Bob. This is, we've been using this more than the Cornus Florida, which is the white one.
Aren't they susceptible to all sorts of diseases?
Not this particular species. This one here is resistant to the anthracnose, which the Cornus Florida gets.
It is, huh?
This also has a very beautiful white flower on it that comes out after the leaf is out, and a tremendous big red strawberry colored fruit on it.
Is it just a brief flowering period?
No, it extended 3 to 4 weeks.
It's a little later than the white flowering dogwood too.
Wonderful. That'll be nice in this location.
Terrific.
Full sun, of course.
And we have lilacs along the foundation here, Bob. There's a dwarf variety over here. Now here we have a larger growing lilac, and I particularly like to use these in older houses because deciduous lilacs were always a part of the landscape here.
What variety are they?
Well, that one's a Korean lilac. This one is it's called Ludwig Spaeth. It's a vulgaris variety, later blooming.
Nice.
Which is nice.
Nice.
Now out here, I wanted to show you, on the corner of the property, we're putting in a huge cluster of rhododendron. I think it's a great spot to use big rhododendron because the leaves sort of curl up
These
in
are
the
the big
wintertime.
leaf rhododendrons, right?
These are Catawbiens, not which is fairly good size leaf. These will have.
Catawbiens.
Now this is what variety is this one?
Album, the white.
Album, which is the white flower.
Oh, my favorite. Yeah.
But
That'll
under, it's a perfect spot. Slightly shaded here on the corner of the property. It'll be a nice foil between the street and the house.
And it'll give us some privacy within the relatively large area that we've got for garden here. And then what's happening over by the original entrance to the house?
Well, this we're going to keep rather simple. It's really a nice porch.
Yeah.
But what we've done is kept the hydrangeas over here. Then we're going to take, which are the old shrubs that frame the entry.
And what are these new?
These are Japanese hollies. And they're on the north side of the house here, so we wanted something that was hardy but, would stay evergreen. We're going to take those, we're going to put those right up in this space on each side of the porch.
That'll dress things
Step
nicely
here.
up there. Let's take a look around the back.
Now, we will have a path that will come around here and lead to the rear terrace.
All right, Tom, then what's happening here on the sunny side of the property?
Well, Bob, this is a unit, a terrace for the second unit here. And what we've done is reclaimed this slope, which used to go right down into a hollow.
Yeah.
By putting this pressure-treated timber retaining wall here. It's up about 2 feet high.
Yeah.
And Roger's been building it out of these pressure-treated timbers.
What's the life expectancy on this wood, Roger?
Well, these 6-inch by 8-inch by 8-foot pressure treated last 30 years.
That's great. Now, how do you keep a retainer wall like this from collapsing, from going overboard?
What we have built in, Bob, are these called dead men or T's. What
Down
we do
in
is
here.
we come out from the wall, it's nailed in the wall, comes out 4 feet, and then is anchored into another piece.
So that's tied in right across there and right across this
Right.
way so that you're literally holding it back.
Exactly, against the forces of nature.
Yeah. That's quite a saw you've got there.
Well,
Let me get out of the way.
Start it up, Paul.
Does a much neater job than a chainsaw, doesn't it?
No more curves, Bob.
Yeah.
Now this is the last timber on this piece of wall here, Ron?
Right in, yes, it's going right in on the end.
Now the, what kind of spikes are you using
We're
here?
using 10-inch galvanized spikes, Tom, and we'll put 4 of these in on this particular piece.
Okay, so Tom, this gets backfilled, and then what will be the finished
Well,
treatment
to
here?
start with, because we've run out of dough, as you know, we're going to use some pebbles, some gravel, and some pebbles on top. Ultimately, we may use brick or stone. We're not sure yet.
Okay, but we'll have some pea stone perhaps on the top.
And this will all be planted too.
Let's take a look at this wonderful fence you've got around the vegetable garden.